Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. There's now hard evidence that low water levels on the Mississippi River are now delaying ag exports. And it comes at the same time the U.S. is also releasing some other disturbing export news. AgDay's Michelle Rook joins us with a closer look at the numbers.
Clinton data just released from USDA's Foreign Ag Service is showing while the U.S. is expected to have record agricultural exports for this marketing year, the industry is still posting a trade deficit. Throw on top of that current headwinds like the low water levels on the Mississippi River, and there's growing concern about the slowdown in exports and what it could mean for farmers. U.S. agriculture has posted a positive trade balance nearly every year for the last 30 years, but 2022 is shaping up to be one of the few where the U.S. sees a trade deficit.
So trade data through August shows that we've exported $130 billion worth of agricultural products. Our imports, however, again, through August have totaled $133 billion. So that puts us at a trade deficit of nearly $3 billion.
Newton says it's tied to a number of factors that are making the U.S. less competitive globally, including 20-year highs in the dollar.
Corn prices were historically high, wheat prices historically high, soybeans, you name it. Most of our commodity prices are at the levels we haven't seen in a number of years. And that does make it difficult to export when you have a very, very strong dollar. Like we have today.
The newest headwind is historically low water levels on the Mississippi River, which have doubled barge freight rates and slowed barge traffic.
They cannot get a lot of barges through. If they can get the barges through, they've got to be a lot lighter than normal. You're hearing force majeure, which means they're essentially walking away from contracts on an act of God clause. And if you can't get that grain out of the Gulf, it tends to kind of back it up into the countryside.
And the evidence of that came in the latest weekly grain exports.
Exports have slowed tremendously. Corn exports, for example, in the data recently released in the export sales report, shows corn exports are at the second lowest level at this point of the year over the last 30 years. So it is having an impact.
This is also the peak season for soybean exports, which were the worst since 2011-12.
Last year, this was when 42% of shipments to China between October and December were shipped from the Gulf. So it'll be interesting to see if stuff really does lack there, if China will start canceling some shipments or be looking elsewhere.
And this is a huge concern at harvest and with the global supply issues tied to weather and the war in the Black Sea. Newton says rice exports were also the lowest in 2 decades and wheat sales were the worst since 2015. And unfortunately, export headwinds like a weaker dollar or improved water levels on the Mississippi River don't look like they'll improve anytime soon.